Hi, thank you for joining us again. These YouTubes are part of the Whole Dyslexic Society's Talk the Dis Out of Dyslexia series, August 2020. In the first YouTube, I talked about the gift that dyslexics share, no matter whether their challenges with reading or writing, math, focusing, remembering, or coordination, and the dynamics of the so-called learning disability, and the fact that they are totally learning able. In this YouTube, you're going to look at the process of correction for those who have already accumulated the challenges. Ron Davis discovered this gift of dyslexia, and the full story is in his book, The Gift of Dyslexia. Having figured out how to deal with it, he went on to create programs for reading, writing, math, and attention mastery. Firstly, he created 3 tools to have students ready for learning. Dyslexics can create an orientation point, a parking spot for their point of perception, which he calls the mind's eye, the place that does the looking when we imagine. This allows our reality and our perception to agree and gives us control of our perception. This parking spot is a foot above and behind our heads on the same focal path as our real eyes. Before I go on, I'd like to talk a little bit about perception. Perception is the way in which information is taken from our outside world and brought into our inside world via our senses. So can you see why accurate perception is essential before any experience or thought process starts? Alphabet letters need to be perceived from our mind's eye and viewed from our real eyes from the same angle. And just because you and your dyslexic student are looking at the same word does not mean you're both perceiving the same letters in the same order. That would be an assumption. The strength of perception is just as powerful, if not more powerful, than our reality. If you're in a car at the stoplights and the car next to you pulls away, you might feel that you're moving. At that moment, you jam your foot up the brake. Your perception was so strong, it caused a physical reaction. Bearing in mind, we dyslexics are capable of thinking at a subliminal rate of 32 images per second, we might perceive the word cat from any one of those 32 perspectives in 1 second from different angles. Again, not useful. And how many times do we ask children to focus, pay attention, concentrate, and yet we never tell them how? It's like giving them a pair of knitting needles, telling them to knit. They'd say, "Show me." Well, this is how we gain an accurate focus. Besides the orientation point, we have release, which is an exercise for relaxing because we can't learn when we're tense. And we also have a dial, a means of controlling our own energy levels, not to be confused with the emotional intelligence dial. Students learn to recognize where their energy level is and that they can move the level up or down, and what level is appropriate for the task in hand. Once these tools are in place, a student can work on the foundations of reading and writing, namely the alphabet letters, punctuation marks, and numerals. We use plasticine clay to make these symbols because we're 3D thinkers, hands-on learners, and it's a 3D material. They set out to find and resolve existing confusions in the alphabet. Now, you might think the child knows the alphabet, especially if they can recite the song, but they won't know if there are any confusions embedded in an alphabet letter until that orientation point is established. Having made an alphabet letter in clay, when it is named, our mind's eye will stay on the orientation point if there is no embedded confusion, but it will leave if there is, thus giving the child the opportunity to release the confusion for good. Once the symbols are mastered, we can go on to the reading exercise that is based on visual recognition. We use a cutout card because we're good at seeing the whole page and the whole line, which is not always useful. We uncover one word at a time and say to the student, if you know the word, say it. If you don't, spell it to me and I'll tell you what it is. With this method, you know they're seeing what you see. They know you'll tell them the word, which results in 100% mutual confidence. No sounding out, no prediction, no guessing, no mistakes. It's actually what adults do. If an adult doesn't know a word, she'll say to a friend, what is GIFT? She's not going to say, what is GIFT? For comprehension, we wait till they are reading at grade level, because up till then, they're still caught in the technical part of reading. When at grade level, we ask them to picture punctuation. Read to the punctuation mark and make a mental image of the meaning. Then on to the next punctuation mark as the image grows. We might ask what they see just to check it is the same as the author's intent. The third component, creating meaning for hitherto meaningless words, the student looks up the meaning and makes a 3D model of the meaning of the word. The student makes the word. The student masters the word by telling himself the definition, the spelling, and voicing it, thus giving himself all three parts to the word, and it makes a complete process. The definition of every is all of one or more things or people when thought of in a group. So all the eggs in the box are thought of in that group. Similarly, all the people in that group. How often do we use the word on, and how many of you can tell yourselves the meaning of on without using the word in the definition? It's tricky, isn't it? We tend to use the sentence to help. The vase is on the table, and we often feel that usage is sufficient, but it isn't. We need the definition, not just where to use it. All of the above is a complete sequential process. While cherry picking might have occurred to you, no. This correction procedure relies on each step being followed sequentially. It needs to be one-on-one and ideally carried out each day for 1 week. So there you have it. All three parts to the challenge have been dealt with. A child or adult has the tools, the foundations, and the methods to navigate the hitherto foreign world of education. You might like to find Lisa Gordon's YouTube on our channel, which journals her introduction and her reactions to her son's correction program. And I know I haven't paid enough attention to the talents that are derived from our gift of altering perception. So I will leave you with this slide showing a very brief summary of all the wonderful talents that dyslexics may enjoy. So there you have it, how dyslexia can be corrected. One more YouTube will show you how it can also be prevented. For more information, including the research, you can go to www.dyslexia.com, as well as our website, www.thewds.org. Thank you so much for watching. We are very excited to have made August 2020 the launch of our YouTube channel, and we will continue to add YouTubes from dyslexics and their facilitators from all over the world. We're on a roll. And thank you from the bottom of our hearts for the 1/3 of the population who really need this information to be out there. Thank you so much for listening.